Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this update video for 1.21.120 of Minecraft Bedrock Edition. We are so excited to share all of the major updates. This is a big one. There's a lot of cool stuff that's coming out that you'll be able to use inside of your builds and demos. I'm Mike Emerlon. I'm a product manager on the creator team, so I work on the documentation and some of the tooling behind Minecraft Bedrock Edition, and I am joined by Angelica from the Minecraft creator team as well. Angelica, hello.
Hello, Mike.
Yeah, and today we're going to go over the creator's eye view of a lot of the new features that you can take advantage of. Now, a lot of these features have been in experimental. In some cases, they've been in experimental for a while, but what we mean by them coming out inside of 1.21.120 is that now you can actually go ahead and use them inside of your builds that you share with your friends or maybe publish to the marketplace. These are all new features that are stable for your usage inside of your own types of projects. And so, yeah, 1.21.120, Angelica, take us through the overview of everything that's coming.
Yeah, I'll just give a quick overview. First of all, jigsaw structures, jigsaw blocks out of experimental. This is very exciting. It has been a journey to bring this over. The capabilities were available on Java, and now they are officially in Bedrock, and I'm so excited to have this as a fast follow to the biome replacement tech that released. So now you can put these two things together. Also, we have some block things coming out, including flower pottable, which Mike will go into. You can make any custom flower in your own custom flower pot. And then one that I really like is randomization of textures. Mike is also going to go over this, but you can take a single flower block and place it with random visual rendering, so you have a lot more options and variability there. And then another one I just want to highlight here is item inventory. You can have make it so that an item has an inventory like a container. So much cool stuff. So I will kick it back over to Mike.
Yeah, so let's talk. I'll talk a little bit about what jigsaw structures coming out of experimental means. But first, before I get to that, I want to talk about kind of this other major update that's happening inside of 1.21.120, which is that Minecraft is moving. So the folder that you all know and love, that's in the Minecraft UWP something 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 slash local state slash com.mojang, all that kind of stuff is actually moving to a new folder that you can see in the slide below. You can find out more information about all of this at aka.ms/mcgdk update. So if you've got tools, if you've got various processes for getting all of your content into Minecraft, you'll probably have to do an update for that. Or in some cases, if you're working with tools like maybe Blockbench or things like Minecraft core build tasks, which we have as a way to automate the pushing of files into Minecraft, you'll probably have to do a little bit of an update to make sure that it will push files into Minecraft Bedrock Edition. But the good news is that the folder's a little bit simpler. So you don't have to remember that really long string of random characters, which is nice. And yeah, so that's just something to keep in mind as you're working with 1.21.120. If you've been using Minecraft Bedrock previews, you'll probably know that it already moved to this folder a while ago. But yeah, this is kind of a major update that we're looking at. Now let's take a look at some of the jigsaw structures. And as I do that, I'll show you how a little bit of how I updated this to support the new Minecraft location. But you can see this is a basic dungeon project. This is from a video that we did a while ago that sort of covers everything that you can do with jigsaw structures. In order to make it ready to work inside of the new file path that is inside of Minecraft Bedrock, I did have to update. One of the things I'm using is the core build tasks, which is the set of build tasks that copies files over to the Minecraft folder. And I did that npm command that you saw on the slide to upgrade it to version 5.50. And then I went into my .env folder and I changed the Minecraft product to Bedrock GDK. This means that it'll push into that new GDK version of Bedrock, which is going to become the standard as of 1.21.120. Okay, so that's how I upgraded it to work with the new Minecraft location. But if you want a very quick overview of how structures work, the summary of this is that jigsaw structures are based on the concept of structures. So you can see here that I've got a number of different MC structure files, which are basically like cubic volumes of blocks that are arranged in a certain way. And then I have a number of different types of JSON files here that actually arrange how they can be randomly put together to create more complex structures. So it begins with this outer level basic dungeon.json where you can see that I've got some very basic information about how the jigsaw structure should be appended to the world. Then I've got these structure definitions, which define some of the different types of structures and how they should be placed. The key thing is really the template pool JSON files. These actually define how different jigsaw structures can get stitched together to create larger jigsaw structures. And then finally, we have a concept of block processors. This is a way to actually randomize a number of the different blocks that you have inside of your jigsaw structure to, take stone and maybe make some of those blocks mossy stone so that you get a little bit of textured and random variation in everything that you build. So if I actually just want to take a quick look at this, I can click play, and this is just the jigsaw sample running in 1.21.120. Again, you can check out the link to this update inside of the notes on this video. You'll see the video for the jigsaw structures, and you can download and play with that to your heart's content. To be honest, it does take a little bit of a while to get a feel for jigsaw structures and how everything is working. But you can see here, maybe not the world's best, most exciting jigsaw structure, but what you can see is what randomly happened is it created a couple of rooms, and let me go up a little bit. It created a bunch of rooms. I'm creating these above ground just so that they're easier to find, but this would look a lot better if it was actually buried under a lot of blocks, let me tell you. But you can see it's got some nice long hallways. The other nice thing about this is I'm using jigsaw structures to actually randomize the interior of these rooms inside of our dungeon. So in this case, I'm placing a couple of beds, but it might have randomly placed some chests or maybe some treasure or something like that in the structure. So, this is just an example of jigsaw structures. I'm a fan of like dungeon games and dungeon crawlers, so I'm hoping that all of you, put your creativity into doing some really awesome, custom dungeons for us to explore inside of Minecraft. But you can use it for a lot of things. You can use it for, creating forests or creating custom like natural features in the above ground with all of the randomness that people love about Minecraft. So that's a little bit about jigsaw structures and a little bit about migrating them to the new folder path. But yeah, that's what's exciting about jigsaw structures. Now, of course, when you think about jigsaw structures, the key thing about jigsaw structures is that they use blocks. And so, as you've probably noticed, release over release over release, we're always extending the capabilities of blocks to do cool things so that you can use them to your heart's content, whether inside of a jigsaw structure or somewhere else. And so in 1.21.120, these are the features that are coming out of experimental and into stable. One of them is flower pottable. What I love about Minecraft is that we're always inventing new adjectives that you can apply to your blocks. And so now you can have flower pottable blocks. What this basically means is that you can put it inside of a flower pot. Now, along with that is this concept of an embedded visual. That allows you to customize what something looks like when it's embedded in something else. So you can change the appearance of your flower when it's inside of that flower pot to maybe make it bigger or taller or smaller or a different color, those kinds of things. Something that's very powerful is you can now make your custom blocks a redstone producer, so they'll actually output redstone. So I expect a lot of you will be doing some really fun and exotic things with redstone producer. So we're really excited to see everything that you're going to do with that. The other nice thing about this is we have this new facility for texture variations. So this is just a simple way inside of terrain texture.json to basically say, hey, for the, this dirt texture that I have over here, I want you to use amongst these 10 different texture files, I want you to pick one randomly to place inside of a block. So that's a little bit of some very cool enhancements to blocks. The texture variations, the redstone, I think will be the heart of a lot of really cool things. And if I know the creator community, you're going to probably do some surprising things with embedded visual and flower pots as well that I don't quite think of, but I'm sure will be pretty awesome, in addition to more flowers, of course. I'll always take more flowers in the world. Okay, so speaking of flowers, one of the things I did was I used Blockbench to go create a new custom flower block like this. And I've added it into the Minecraft world. It looks a little bit like a daisy, but you can see that I've actually changed the color of it. So one thing I've done, this is the electric flower, is I've actually made it a redstone producer. So you can see that if I just put down some redstone dust, the redstone dust lights up. And if I, put a piston next to it, let's say, the piston will extend because it's powered by redstone that's coming off of this flower. The other thing you'll notice is that this flower has a number of different, colored cores. Like there's a green one, there's a red one, there's a blue one. Now, when I place it down, you can see that, like just kind of randomly, like, oh, sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's red or green, excuse me, and those kinds of things. But because this is, oops, also flower pottable, you know, when I actually place it inside of the flower pot, the core is actually red. And that's because I'm taking advantage of the embedded visual component to actually change the color of it when it's actually inside of the flower pot. I probably should also maybe have adjusted the stem because it doesn't quite fit in. I don't know. You can change both the geometry and the texture that's used for it. So let's take a quick look at, let's see, let's go take a quick look at the JSON that's behind this. So I'm going to go dip into my block, the electric flower. And again, I created this using Blockbench, the Blockbench block wizard. And you can see that I added the flower pottable component, and this is just a simple kind of true false component. Its presence in there says that, okay, this thing can be embedded inside of a pot. I'm taking advantage of the embedded visual component to say, oh, by the way, when it's actually inside of a pot, make it red. And then I'm also making this a redstone producer with a power of 12. I think the range is 0 to 15, and you can see that I can choose which faces are actually connected to the redstone. So you can actually, customize, do a lot to customize this, especially if you think about how these components could be placed inside of things like permutations and whatnot. The final thing I'll show is if I go to my terrain texture file, you can see that the electric flower texture will basically alternate between the blue and the green texture. And you can give them a custom weight if you want, so that maybe green is a bit more rare. But in this case, it's, they both have a weight of 10, so it's 50-50 as to which one you get. So yeah, that's a little bit about some of the new block enhancements, but this will allow for a lot more dynamic and random things inside of the world. So super excited to see the fun stuff that gets built with this. Next up, we have some new APIs, and these have been a long time in coming, and there's more to come. But we have the dimension.get biome API, which will actually give you some, well, just the identifier essentially of the biome, but there's probably more to come there. We have this concept of is chunk loaded. I mean, for the longest time, we were hoping to design the API so that you as a creator didn't have to really worry about whether a chunk was loaded or not. But we finally gave up because whether a chunk is loaded or not is actually pretty essential to know if you're writing some really complicated script. So it's something you'll want to take in mind as you're building out a solution that, okay, whether the chunk is loaded or not is something that's fairly important. So we have an API for that now, rather than just having to catch the exception if the block is not loaded yet. And then finally, some light level APIs to actually measure the light level. And then finally, we have a whole bunch of Molang easing functions. So if you're doing animations, there's a number of different easings for a more natural animation flow that you can use inside of your animation. So that's really cool as well. Let's just take a quick look at what this looks like. So I'm going to go back inside of the game. And what you can see from this is, okay, I've got my environment rod, which is actually inappropriately named the book rod. Copy and paste there. But what you can see from this is when I use this, you can see a number of different things get printed. First, the current light level at my position is 4, which probably makes sense because it's nighttime. So that's interesting. It will tell me that my current biome is forest, which, yeah, it's currently forest. And then the other thing is it's giving me a northeast, west, south of which chunks are loaded 70 blocks away. Keep in mind, I'm probably looking much further than 70 blocks, but as far as the server is concerned, it's only loading like, I don't know, about 60 blocks around me. And so if depending on how fast I move, different chunks that are 70 blocks away will get unloaded or reloaded. That's kind of the periphery of where all the block loading is happening. So you can see a little bit of the what's getting loaded and those kinds of things. Let's see if I go over here. Now I'm over the birch forest, and now I'm over the ocean. Now I'm over a beach. So you can see all kinds of interesting information there. If I say time that day like this, now all of a sudden my light level is 15. It's at kind of maximum brightness. And I haven't tried this, but I wonder what it'll say when I'm kind of at the bottom of an ocean, what that light level corresponds to. Let's see. All right. So now my light level is 0. Oh, okay. That's interesting. I should have taken your guesses, Angelica, but because I was expecting something like 4 or 5, but okay, it's 0. All right. But yeah, now we're back up to 15 now that I'm out of the ocean. Okay, now I'm curious, like if I'm just under the waves, is it 0? All right, yeah. Oh, 9. Oh, okay. Yeah, you can see it going down the further I go up or down in the water. Now it's 5. Anyway, interesting. Light level, all kinds of good fun. You can, for example, use this if you've got some custom script to maybe spawn more zombies when it's dark. If you're using script to go spawn some zombies, so that's pretty cool as well. So yeah, some really powerful APIs for building custom things. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about Editor. Editor 1.1.5. To go along with all those cool platform improvements, Editor has also been working day and night to have some cool new features, most specifically a Jigsaw editor. So we'll take a look at that in just a second. But first, let's take a look at curves in the line tool. So this is what it says it is, which is a really easy way to build lines between 2 points. And then you can choose the type of curve that you want, and you can actually drag and drop the center point of that curve so that you can have really easy, curved lines that are inside of your Minecraft world. And as you drag and drop, you get that awesome preview that shows you exactly how it's going to go build something. So it makes it really easy to have more organic shapes. You don't have to do all of the individual line segments yourself. Next up, we have a scaling tool. So I don't know about you, but have you ever built a house and then you're like, it's not quite big enough. I need to resize it. I should have had to rebuild it. And then you have to go rebuild the house. It's a lesson in planning, everybody. You should plan. But if you're like me and sometimes you don't plan when you should have, you have the scaling tool. So now you can actually take your existing structure and rescale it. Of course, you'll probably have to go through and tweak it and edit it a little bit, but this is much nicer. And, especially it also helps you get a little bit more variation in your world if you scale things up and down a bit. So a really nice and easy tool for changing the size of things inside of Minecraft. Really cool. I'll never have to plan again. Awesome. And so then the next thing is, as I mentioned earlier, the big news is editing of jigsaws. So you can see here that first and foremost, there's an editor for editing the various different components of a jigsaw. So in this case, I can start a new jigsaw collection like so. And I can then go ahead and edit the various jigsaw pools. I can give them a custom name. And there's actually some nice built-in editors for things like, okay, which structure do you want to point at? And so if you've got some structures that are already designed into Minecraft, you have a nice little picker where you can select it. You can keep adding more pieces. You can change the overall weighting of how things will get joined together. And it really is a nice foundational jigsaw editing experience. Of course, you still need to kind of understand how jigsaws all hang together. So again, check out the video I linked below and some of the articles on how to get started working with jigsaws. You're really going to want to still understand the concepts of jigsaws before you use the awesome jigsaw editor inside of the Minecraft editor. But the piece de resistance is the preview of jigsaw structures inside of the Minecraft editor. So now if you actually want to take a look at your jigsaw, you can actually do preview, and this will give you kind of like a preview, a random generation of your jigsaw structure. But you can see that as you manipulate some of the core properties of your jigsaw, you can actually test and see what that looks like. So here we're using the ABC jigsaw block structures that we have, but you can imagine this is like different rooms or different hallways in your dungeon, or whatever type of creation. And you can see how all the randomization works together to actually create something that's pretty nifty. So this is really exciting. I mean, this shows you like a what you see is what you're going to get kind of a preview of how your jigsaw structures are going to end up in the world. And I've spent an awful high amount of time like playing with my jigsaws in the Minecraft world, just trying to hunt and find for where an example jigsaw structure is. There are some commands for setting them up, but boy, I've spent a lot of time hunting for jigsaw structures, and now you don't have to hunt for them. The ability to preview them is right inside of the jigsaw, inside of the Minecraft editor, inside of the jigsaw editor. Okay, so that's a little bit of everything that's in 1.21.120. Check out the notes that we have linked in the description below for more details. There's always going to be some features that we didn't quite talk about in this video, so check out that. And Angelica, why don't you take us on a tour of what's coming in future versions of Minecraft?
Yeah, we've got a lot more blocks coming, blocks every release, which is great. We have some camera stuff and more APIs. One of the APIs I'm really excited about is item durability, and that will be coming out, making finally you could set your item to be unbreakable, right? Stairs is going to be something that is going to be a lot easier with the blocks that are coming out. So
Wow.
we've got some collision and other connection things coming with blocks that'll make it really easy to just replicate a stair with a vanilla stair with your own kind of custom block doing that. And with camera, we've got splines, which are going to be very basic splines, moving a camera along the spline. But as part of that, you can set that camera to roll. You can be on a roller coaster. So we're excited to see what you do with that. And attaching cameras to entities, which I think is just going to cause a lot of chaos, putting that camera on any one of your farm animals and just sitting back and watching what happens there. So we hope you have fun with all of these and more that will be coming out soon.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for stopping in and checking out this video about everything that's coming for creators in 1.21.120. Again, also keep your eyes out for that update to the new folder paths that exist in 1.21.120 as well. Can't wait to see all the cool things you're going to build, particularly with jigsaw structures. That's kind of my favorite. So look forward to seeing everything that's awesome. And thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.